Hello and welcome again to my and your channel to learn programming the easiest way. Today we will start a new playlist, a new course called Learn HTML and CSS from zero to hero by implementing real projects. So what is the idea of this playlist? This playlist will teach you HTML and CSS by implementing a real project. For every single episode, I will present you a bunch of HTML elements and its properties by teaching you this HTML element does this, and these CSS properties do this, and here are the values, and at the end, we will give you a project to implement the knowledge you earned into it. No, this is not the purpose of this playlist. Otherwise, what we will do together for the first video until the end is implementing projects by presenting you a web page, and we will discuss together how we can implement a particular web page. What are the expected elements that the programmer uses to implement this web page, as well as with CSS properties. So, sorry for the long introduction. Now, without further ado, let's start firstly with introducing you to HTML and CSS. But if you are comfortable with the meaning of HTML and CSS, please check the chapters into the description box below this video to jump right away to the code. But I highly recommend you to watch this simple introduction to the worldwide of HTML and CSS. Did you ask yourself once, how can I execute a web page? So, for any web page, you must use HTML in order to design the structure for that certain page. Your images, heading, links, your text. You have to implement all these things using HTML in order to add them into your web page. For styling these images, text, you should use CSS in order to design your web page. If you didn't get the core idea of HTML and CSS, don't worry. After answering these three questions, you will get the core idea of them. Well, let's start. What are HTML, CSS? Where can I use them? Are they programming languages? Actually, the last question gets a lot of people to argue on it, but we will make it easier. So, HTML is a word, a shortcut for what? HTML, this word, shortcut for Hypertext Markup Language. At the end of the day, we earned Hypertext Markup Language. You might ask yourself, what is the meaning of markup language? What is a markup language, and what is the difference between markup language and a programming language? I will answer your questions, so let's start with the first one. What is a markup language? Basically, a markup language is a computer language that uses tags to define elements within a document. They are easier to read. These languages are designed to create a structure, identify data, or to present data, rather than to execute an action or to perform an action, as what you will see as what we will see together by implementing a HTML code. You will realize that that code is very easy to read, very easy to understand. It is a human readable for you, the markup language. And HTML, XML, and XHTML are some common markup languages. So let's now answer your second question. What is the difference between them? The main difference between markup language and programming language is a markup language defines a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that is both human readable and machine readable. Otherwise, the programming language provides a set of commands and syntax that can be used to write computer programs, which are understood by the computer. A programming language uses loops, if conditions, they are using variable, all that thing the programming languages use in order to implement an action, just like Python, JavaScript, Java, C#, etc. Now let me summarize you the meaning of HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. you can use it to create the structure of a web page. And for the last question, is it a programming language? We answered before, no, it is a markup language. What about CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS is a design language that is used to make the web pages more presentable. It is written inside HTML. It's used to add designs such as adding colors, it changes fonts and text, etc. Now let me summarize you CSS as well. CSS use it to style a web page, and for the last question, CSS is not a programming language. So what we are waiting for? Let's now jump to the more interesting part is writing code. Alright, here I have my VS Code. I downloaded it before. If you don't, you can also use any other editor. If you have Sublime Text, just use it. If you have Autumn, if you want to just download Visual Studio Code, you can just visit code.visualstudio.com/download and choose your appropriate version for your computer. Now let's jump back to VS Code, and in order to create your project, you have to click this button here, and if you have a folder, just go and choose it. For me, I will add a new folder in my desktop directory. I will name it project 1 and then select folder, and here we have our folder. In order to add the file to write the HTML code, we have to click at this icon here. And now you can name your file whatever you want, but it's coming to just name it index. You can name it whatever you want, but please don't forget to add the extension.html and don't change it. Enter. Now you create your folder. Now let's add the first code, the first line code inside this HTML. It is the doc type code. The doc type tag HTML and close it. This doc type HTML just help the web browser to know the type and the version of HTML used in building the web document. This helps the browser to handle and load it properly. So you have to just write this line of code, the doc type HTML. And then what you have to add? You have to add HTML itself. You just write HTML and VS will just close it for me. This tag you can now add whatever you want just inside this tag. But HTML actually takes just two type of tags. The first one called head, and here you can add every information about your web page, and we will just see in a few seconds. And the second one called the body of the page. From its name, the body, you can add the heading, the links, the images inside this particular region. So let's go back to the head. We can actually add for the head the title of your page just by typing the title, closing your tag. And then inside the title, you can write whatever you want. Let's just write, this is from the head. This is our title for now. The body, just you can implement whatever you want. Let's just go with hello world exclamation point. So here is your HTML page. Now you create your own web page. We will run it in just one second, but I highly recommend you to go to your extension from this one extension, and you have to download, or you don't have actually, but it will make your life easier, the live server. Download it. Just a second to download. Yeah, here we are. The live server, just install it. This will make your life easier by running HTML pages. It will make it so easy. So go back to our code. You can just click this button here, go live, and it will open it for you. But I like to do it by opening that with live server. Now we get our HTML page. Congratulations, you create your own page. So where is the title? We just add this is from the head. Here is the title. Here is the head. The head is the title. You can just see it inside this region. For here, autumn, you can see the title. It is autumn. Here you can sublime text. Here is the Visual Studio Code, and this is our page. And here we implement hello world. So that's it for our video today. We learned what is HTML as well as CSS. We learned the difference between markup language and the programming language. Also, we saw the interface of VS Code. And of course, we started our first web page. With the second video of this playlist, we will start implementing a real project, learning through it the fundamental of the two languages. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It was me, Wajdoel, and see you next time.